Hey everybody, welcome back to another edition of Garage Scale Studio Modelers. I'm Dave Forrest, and I'm here with my good friend
Harvey Lowe.
And today we're going to actually do some airbrush work, and I'm going to do some camo on the 251 Stuka Zufus that we talked about a couple of episodes back. This is the dragon kit that I was complaining horribly about.
Right. Yes.
Not a right angle on it, and since then, I picked up one of the Tamiya kits, one of the 251s, the one with the 75mm Canon on the front, and this is the result of an evening's work.
One evening. Okay, how many hours?
I would say about 4 hours.
Really?
Yeah. It's
a Tamiya kit.
It's a Tamiya
Wow.
kit. Now it's an older Tamiya kit.
Yeah.
This came out the early 90s, 91, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So not as maybe well engineered as obviously the more recent Tamiya kits, but still goes together fairly well. And out of the box, you can build a very nice, compelling model. And let me tell you, the joy of putting together the suspension compared to what I had to deal with on the Dragon kit. This thing lined up easy. Like this took me, once I had all the wheels sanded and everything, it took me like 10 minutes to put it together and
But why is that? Is that because there was less parts? The locating pins were just...
so just better fit. Better fit, right? Everything lined up easy, right? There wasn't this wobbliness on each one. Now, I'll have to find some aftermarket tracks for it, because the ones that come with the kit are rubber. They're terrible. They're underscaled and whatnot. The nice thing about the Dragon kits is you do get the magic tracks, and they're absolutely gorgeous. They're an effort to put together, but they look really nice. So I can use some Fruels, or I've got some AFV ones that I can Lincoln Length, not Lincoln Length, the individual workable track links that I can put on here. So, but just to show how, again, to me, it's
4 hours.
Yeah.
Which is, how long was it you fiddling? I remember you were fiddling with the chassis for how long? It must have been, there was more than one night.
There was, this was weeks.
Yeah. Just so you viewers know, so we're doing this live, so when he sneezes, that's
the live sneeze.
The live sneeze. We actually do what we did when I was younger. We actually go to Dave's place for nightly, not every night, but builds.
Yeah, once or
twice a week. And I know you were fiddling with that for at least a couple of nights, and this one was 4 hours. So
yeah, and there's if I look at this head on, like it's crooked.
Is really?
Oh yeah.
I didn't think it was that bad.
Yeah, it's bad. Like look at there's an obvious difference in the height of the fenders.
I see.
Right? But that could be me. That could be user error, but
I don't know about you would make mistakes like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
But that harkens back to our last episodes on judging. That be interested to know from you viewers, if you enter a contest and you attempt something like this, you're at a bit of a disadvantage at a show for fit and finish if you simply go in with an easier build.
Yeah, it's the risk profile.
It's a risk profile.
Yeah, exactly right. So,
but would you say that even this kit's still more detailed than this one?
Oh,
like overall,
yeah.
It is.
But the amount of effort you have to put into it for that detail, I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure it's worth it.
By the time you weather it.
Yeah, exactly. By the time you paint it and weather it, and we'll do a side by side comparison when these are done, and then everybody can judge for themselves what they feel. But certainly, like and this is a different version of the 251, but I know I have the Tamiya equivalent of this one here.
Right.
And it's not like the crates aren't as deep. Like the crates on the Dragon one look really good. Right?
So I understand that AFV Club does one now.
Yes.
And from what I know, is each has its advantages and disadvantages compared to these. I heard that the AFV Club has really nice rocket detail, but the Dragon kit has better, crate detail. I haven't looked at the two kits, but that's what I've heard. So I guess if you really wanted, you could actually buy them all and kind of interchange.
Yeah, mix and match.
Match.
Like I tried to use. I almost used the seat, one of the spare seats, but I found that the Tamiya seat was pretty. The leather on it looked better, more shaped. It's inside. You can't.
Now this one's got leather. That one's wood bench. Are they both? And they're both the same. Are they C or B variants?
These are D.
These are
both
Ds.
D variants.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So they would have reconfigured the interior depending on Like this is really just the standard 251D that has the
I see.
the mortars on the side, right? Whereas
That's
this has a different configuration because of the mount that you need for the gun.
Yeah. Neat looking videos.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
Well, while we're at it, I was reading a few of the comments on judging, because we always do read what's posted. We may not always get back to individuals. And I must say, Dave, I don't know if you've looked at them. Robert, I don't know if you've looked at them. But all of the comments were really positive. And there wasn't really any controversial comments. Sometimes those are good. But one viewer did mention that they did not like the fact that some judges come with lights, flashlights, and rulers to shows. I've never seen a person, a judge, come with a ruler. Have you? Have you seen?
I've seen somebody with a protractor.
Oh my God! Yeah, I can get the gentleman's comment about that.
Yeah.
But on lights though, I find that some shows.
Well, you need lights, yeah.
Yeah, because the shows are like the lighting's not good enough in the room, and as we all get older, we need lights. But otherwise, I thought it was an interesting comment about the
yeah, and you know what might be
ruler.
interesting for folks to do is maybe go and take some of your older builds,
Yeah.
pull them out, and have a good look at them, and like with a flashlight,
Yeah.
right? Take a good
That's
look,
true.
like scrutinize them,
Yeah.
and I think find where. You know, if you have the opportunity to go back and fix something
Fix
or
it.
do something different, that might be a good opportunity for
Mhm.
you to maybe, apply those lessons learned, as it were, to.
You know what I do? When I do, like to say what you're doing here, I actually will take it into the sunlight sometimes.
Yeah.
And it gives you a different
Yeah.
view on how your paint is.
Yeah, exactly. You might look at it and say, it looks
a
good
different-
inside, but
Yeah.
when you see it in the sunlight,
Yeah.
it's a little bit. But
Anyways.
yeah.
But that looks great.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
really come along. Have you started weathering it, or is that just modulation?
No, that's no,
Really?
just the pure modulation
Really?
at this point. Yeah.
All right. Well.
Yeah. So let's so we can get into it. We'll get a close up view. We'll let Robert get in close so we can see. We're going to do some airbrush work. I'll talk about the paints I'm using. I'll talk about the thinning ratios, and just kind of walk through the process. And Harvey and I will just have a we'll kind of go back and forth while we're doing that.
Okay. Sounds good. So, while you're doing the mixing, I'll be doing maybe a bit of commentary here and there. But let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here we go. All right, so we're going to do some camo work on this 250. So I've already started, as you can see, and the colors I'm using are I'm using two colors from the AK range. So one is the RC047, which is olive green, which is REL 6003, and then for the brown or the red brown, I'm using RC067, which is rock brown. RAL 812. Now, because of the nature of the camouflage, meaning that it's a fairly dispersed pattern, I'm not going to modulate it. So I'm just going to spray it on, and I'll show you kind of the mixing ratios that I'm using. We're going to be thinning with good old faithful Mr. Leveling Thinner. Again, these are kind of acrylic lacquer, so they respond well to the lacquer leveling thinner here, and you can use the Tamiya one, or I guess you could use. I've never used AK's thinner, so I don't know how well it works.
Yeah, I have.
Have you? And
It's very good.
Is it?
It's very, very good. Yeah, I've used both leveling thinner and their own AK line. Do not use the AK paints though with Tamiya, their regular thinner, their acrylic thinner. It didn't work for me.
No, eh?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I stick with this stuff because it stinks,
Yeah. It's,
but it works,
Yeah.
right? It's like proven, and I really like the Tamiya orange top
yes.
leveling thinner, lacquer leveling thinner as
with
well.
a retarder.
With the retarder.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that works really well.
And for the audience, if you're using leveling thinner, it is not a pure lacquer. It's a synthetic lacquer, so you're safe to use it with AK paints. So don't use regular lacquer thinner that you'd get at the hardware store with these paints because it won't work.
That's right. Yeah, it's worth spending a little bit of money on the.
Mm-hmm.
So I've already put a few drops of the leveling thinner in my airbrush. I'm using an Iwata HP. What is this? An HPB? HPBH, which I think it has a 0.15 needle.
Wow.
I think.
I
Maybe
love a
1/8.
lot of brushes.
Yeah, they are reliable, and
That's
it's
all
got
I use.
the built-in MAC valve as well,
Yeah.
which is nice. So I'm just mixing paint, and I'm just mixing it very thin.
Oh, and for our viewers, the MAC valve is just simply a fancy term that you can use to adjust the air pressure on the
It's
airbrush.
a micro
Yeah.
air control, I
Yeah.
think is what they call it.
Rather than doing it on your compressor.
Yeah. So always have a trusty paper cloth nearby. That
You mix your paints right in the airbrush paint cup like that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. When I don't have a lot to mix.
Oh, okay.
If I'm doing primer or base coat, I'll mix it in a little plastic cup. But
Right.
you're going to be using
Right.
so little of this.
Right.
And then I have a piece of paper that I use. And what I do, and I'm spraying very low. I'm spraying at about 10 or 12 psi.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just test it to see.
You got a nice quiet compressor there. What kind of compressor are you using?
That's what is that? That's the big Iwata one that has the 2 feeds off of it.
Right. The big square black
The
box.
big square black box, yeah.
As opposed to a diaphragm. There you go.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So I'll continually go back to this, as you'll see me as I'm airbrushing. And then what I do is I look at the instructions. So Dragon, they give actually decent camo patterns, which is like the only redeeming quality of their instructions, to be fair. But so you can kind of see, they don't give a top-down view. They don't show the other side of the vehicle. But at least you can kind of figure out an approximate. And again, it's an approximation. I wouldn't get too hyped up on applying these. Again, these were generally field applied, so there'd be a ton of variability to it, right? So, so unless you're doing a specific vehicle that's in a photo, you can kind of take a few liberties with it. Yeah. So, as you can see, so I'm just going to continue working. I'm very random when I do this. Like I'll go to one part of the vehicle, I'll spray there. And then, I'll move to another part of the vehicle, and then maybe come back. So it's a very, it's a very organic type of process that I.
Nice tight line there.
Yeah, it's not bad. So let's see. We'll go. Let's start doing some on the side. Actually, I'm just gonna pull the wheels off.
While you're pulling the wheels off, what is your mixture? 50-50 thinner to paint?
No, it's more like
It's
60, at least 60% thinner,
Right,
40% paint.
You want that tight airbrush
Yeah, exactly.
lines without any overspray.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially when you're doing this type of camo paint, you got to keep it very thin. It reduces the overspray.
So you mentioned earlier that you don't modulate it. I mean, you're referring to you're not modulating the red and green. You only modulated the base color.
Correct.
Dark yellow.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll adjust things either through filters or through the weathering process. Okay, so now that I've got the wheels off, I'll get this out of the way. Let's do a little bit. So yeah, so we'll just carry on here.
That's looking good. From this light, it's looking great.
So again, so you just start spraying. So I'm just kind of working it.
Now, for the viewers that can't quite see, that's a very, very thin application, almost misting on the paper and the model. Don't apply it too thick.
You got it.
Yep.
So you'll see me go off with the model and go back on just so that sometimes the paint.
And that prevents the paint from sticking to the needle too, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what happens.
That's looking great. Look at that. It's coming along. It's a piece there. It's getting
sorry, I'll move that gun shield off to the side here. Yeah, and it's as simple as that.
So far, when you're applied what you've applied up to this point, how long did it take you to do what you did there?
Oh, not long at all. Like this was maybe 45 minutes.
Oh wow, that's great. Once you get that right paint mixture.
Yeah, it's easy. So I just did it to kind of prep for what we were going to do here today. Like I could have easily finished the model in an evening, right?
Now, for me, I do know that when I spray in the basement, and in Toronto it can get very humid in the summer, so I have a humidifier going on. And I do that because I find with these tight schemes, if you've got a humid climate, you might get water here. But so I also have a moisture trap on my airbrush.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah. I have the whole setup going. Yep. But I don't. Yeah, we're lucky because we have.
Yeah, right now we're in the dead of winter.
Yeah.
So
well, I work for a furnace and heating company, so I should have quality gear in my house as a result. So I'm just picking random spots on it. So I'm going to start getting in now. Just a note. So here's a crate, And the crates, so the crates I've decided, and I've seen this on photos as well. The crates I'm just going to leave in the standard yellow.
Mm-hmm.
And I took one of the crates, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it in wood.
Right.
And I have the metal parts all done in primer.
Mm.
So this will be just something that will sit on one of the
That
right, just
great.
as a
The
just
contrast.
as like a different, like a visual.
Yeah.
You know, something to pull the eye to it, something a little bit different. I'll leave these in the yellow, but I will camo. You did see camo on the actual brackets
on the
themselves.
brackets.
Yeah.
Now, for the viewers who don't know about this vehicle, these crates were delivered with the weapons, the armaments in them, right? That's why you have them in these different colors. They were not camouflaged at the factory.
Correct. Yeah, this was all
crates on, right?
This was all field.
Yeah, the crates came field applied.
So I think they might have been single use.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So
yes,
they would just kind of build them in place and then ship them, attach them on, right?
Some were metal, I believe, and some brackets.
Yeah.
And some were
Some
wood.
are wood.
So you'd paint those separately anyways.
So I think the later in the war, when they were kind of dealing with material shortages.
So again, this is where research does help you, because if you didn't know that and you're spraying the model with the brackets on it, will it affect the judging? That's a controversy. But you want to make sure that you get the model historically accurate, and because they were applied separately when they fired and they got rid of them, then you paint.
But my guess is most judges won't know that.
That's true.
Right?
Although, did I send you that picture about that Hellcat model where it was beautifully done, but the canopy was on backwards?
Was that what it was? I was thinking it might have been that.
That was the canopy was on backwards.
Yeah.
It's too bad. It's beautifully done, but
So I wouldn't have known that necessarily. Not that I'm a Hellcat expert. How's that looking, Robert? Like
Good, very good.
Yeah, we've got the overhead cam. It's the first time we're working with it, so
and
just to give everybody a better view.
And I know that Dave and I are always in front of the camera, but our thanks to Robert. He deserves a lot of credit because he's the guy doing all the background photography.
Wow.
And the editing.
Robert,
you can hear him in the. It's not us doing this, right? So there's three of us here. And by the way, while Dave is spraying, yes, he's spraying synthetic lacquer. No, we're not wearing masks. You should wear a mask, but we're in his garage, so we've got a lot of ventilation.
That's a great point.
Right? That's why we call ourselves Garage Studio Modelers.
If I was downstairs in my workshop,
mask.
I'd be. Well, I don't know. Well, this stuff is pretty.
It's not bad.
It's not bad.
For that tight little.
I mean, you're probably better off. At least I have the spray booth downstairs.
Did you use while we're on it? Did you use AK for the Dunkelgelb?
No, that was the what I use. I used the modulation set from Gunzi.
Is that? And that's a lacquer, isn't it?
It's a lacquer, yeah.
That would be smelly.
That would be So that I definitely sprayed.
Our apologies, Mr. Compressor makes noise from now and then, which is annoying, but he's part of the hobby. So. Hey, that's looking great.
Yeah, so I'm just kind of making, I'm going to go down. I'm going to leave the wheels in just yellow, and the hubs of the front wheels in yellow.
Well, that's a good point. If you know all the detail of doing all that wheel and you put mud on it, you're going to hide a lot of it if you do decide to do that.
Yeah, that's true too.
I find that when I'm spraying tight patterns like that, like you're doing now, sometimes I have to, if you have an airbrush where you can pull the needle back to clear the nozzle, that sometimes needs to be done too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You've already done what? How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 bands already.
Yeah, just building it up, kind of just following, this a little and I probably moved away from this, but kind of, a generous kind of, and then maybe I'll do this one down. So there's a little bit of green down here. But I'm just going to work on that. Yeah,
it's a nice green too.
Yeah, the AP colors are actually I'm not a big fan of the yellow, but the red and green is.
I do like the AK range. My go-tos for these are AK and Tamiya. I like them both.
Yeah, to me it's Tamiya. I love the lacquer paints. The Tamiya lacquers.
Those are really smelly.
Those stink.
Yeah,
but those go spray beautifully. Maybe do something up here. I'm starting to see the.
Yeah, see the needle's drying a bit. paint's right underneath.
I'm just kind of just working it, you know. Kind of a cloudy.
So you got like a fairly low pressure, a
Yep.
high thinner to paint ratio, and looks like your airbrush nozzle is pretty close to the surface of the model. So, you know, people ask me about what the magic airbrush is and how do you get so tight lines. Well, I think there's a couple of factors, right? One is you've got a really tight airbrush to surface. It's very close to the surface,
Yes.
right?
That reduces the overspray.
Right, that reduces overspray. You've got a really thin mixture of paint, 60-40 thinner to paint you mentioned.
Yeah, if not maybe 65-35,
Yeah.
right?
And you've got an air pressure that's fairly low, and you're spraying in a not a humid environment. I find too that well, a lot of brushes are great. You can get good effects with virtually any airbrush as long as you've got, you know, these factors in control.
Yeah, agreed.
It doesn't have to be.
That's what you're comfortable with,
It's
right?
what? Yeah, I heard that some of the guys in our local club have been building for years. They were still using single action airbrushes, which I didn't know.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So it's less the tool, it's more the modeling.
Yeah, and you can, like when I bought this, I mean, this is really a step below a custom micron. But when I was buying this, I could have spent the extra few $100 to get the custom micron, but you know, I'm a firm believer, like, master the tool.
Sure.
Before you, just because you pay a lot for something doesn't mean you're going to get, you know, it takes a lot of work, as you know, right? I mean, look at the work you did with your Italian camo.
Well, that is a good point. I mean, yes, I have a custom micron, but I tend to use an HPD like you have here for this type of camouflage because I find the micron is so tight that it almost looks artificial when you're doing camo like this. Do you know
Almost
what I
too
mean?
tight, yeah.
Yeah, it's too tight. You want a bit of that gradation between the pattern and the base color.
So let's just pause for a minute here. So
That's
I've kind of
pretty good.
worked around the front and around the side here. You know, I think I'll probably keep. I've already done the back. So maybe let's flip it over and do the other side. Now, there's nothing to stop you from. There's nothing to say you can't go back to the green.
Yeah, right.
Right, as you're spraying, if you see that you know, you missed a few spots or you want to go over something, you can always go back over it. Not a problem. So here I've got no reference because it doesn't show the side of the vehicle.
Right. So you just.
So I'm just guessing, right? So I'll just.
I see what you're doing though is you're applying the colors in a fairly balanced way, right? You're not doing so many green patterns in one area. I mean, that's your artistic side coming through, right?
Yeah, you're just trying to you just get, and over time, like, there's no formula for this. It's really just getting an eye for it.
But you know, I hate to say, in page 46 of Hanomeg in action, that pattern that you're doing right there didn't have that little swirly, curly area in the left corner of that airbrush pattern that you're doing right now. So you really must check your references, David. Really, it's inaccurate, but hey,
I dropped the ball
you
there.
dropped the ball on that one, buddy. Yeah, it's looking great. And you've managed to get all those patterns done by just putting a few drops in your airbrush.
Yeah, that's hardly any
Right.
paint.
Yeah, it's hardly any paint.
Like I won't even. I like. Here's what's. I won't use all of this.
There's hardly any in there.
Yeah.
That's looking good.
And again, you know, these were field applied, so you know, very random.
By the way, the compressor you have is very nice, and I don't know about you guys, but I like these types of quiet compressors because I had an old diaphragm one. The noise is rather annoying after a while. It kind of really helps you concentrate.
Do as much spraying,
Yeah.
you know, as we do. It's nice to make the investment in something that's quiet.
As I said before, we're in a garage right now, and you can't smell the leveling thinner at all.
No.
Still for safety, put a mask on.
Yeah.
But it's well ventilated here.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll just kind of keep working.
You've already done. I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 within the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's very easy.
You ought to enter this in a speed build competition. But actually, you already putzing around with a wheel on for like 2 nights. So.
Yeah, making up for time on the build. Because the build was horrible.
Yeah. That looks great.
Like that building that other Tamiya kit that I had out earlier. That was like pure therapy. That's what that was.
Do you ever whip a model at a wall?
Not in a very, very long time.
I admit I have not. I did it when I was a kid. Because
Out of frustration?
Yes,
Yeah.
but because we're mature adults now, very mature, I don't do that anymore.
So you can see there's a bit of pooling.
Yeah.
Right? So just because I got a little careless with it, so I'm just going to let it dry and just go over it.
Yeah, go over it. Yeah, if you do that, folks, just let it dry a bit and just go back over
Just
it.
go back over it. You see it's virtually gone.
I remember hearing references that some of the crew thin the stuff with fuel too.
Yes.
Is that true?
Yes. Yeah, sometimes they wouldn't have, you know.
Yeah.
So again, field applied stuff, like the
Yeah.
quality, like it's all over the place.
It's all over the place. Yeah. Sometimes you can even see the overspray in some
Oh, yeah,
pictures.
yeah.
You can actually see it. You know, one interesting thing about camouflage, just a general comment, is this type of camouflage was very indicative of German armor, right? And the Italians are very, very gaudy in theirs, but you don't see Shermans and Allied tanks in this type of scheme.
No.
Yeah.
No, not even. Well, maybe you do. Like the Sherman tanks, in some of the Pacific,
That's true.
would have the
That's
different,
true.
you know,
Different
not
colors, but not like this.
yeah, not that wasn't their go-to.
Because as I watch some of the newsreel footage of current conflicts around the world, a lot of the tanks of opposing sides, they kind of look the same. They're the same
Well, the
colors.
Ukraine, you can't tell,
You can't tell, right?
You can't tell.
They have
who's-
to put the markings on the tanks.
That's why they have the Zs. And
Yes,
right.
right. But in World War II, it's like, okay, these were German vehicles. These are Allied
Which raises a good point. Like I'll probably do the Ukrainian war build.
Mm.
I've already got, I've got a few pieces, as you know, Harvey, a few
Mhm.
pieces I'm working on, but I'll probably do one from start to finish here,
Mm.
just because it's topical. Maybe a bit controversial.
Well, gentlemen, we're modelers here, so there's some guys that have done Russian. There are guys that have done Ukrainian. We're modelers, and we're modeling off vehicles and conflicts. So that's what we do.
Oh, exactly. But it's amazing how political.
Hmm.
Like I remember, I bought a Zvezda kit.
Yeah.
Shortly after the war had started, and I kind of felt guilty. Like,
Well, there is a lot of
Right.
nice aftermarket coming out of Russia. As a modeler, just saying, right?
yeah,
Just
like
saying.
Quinta Studios, like those resin
Yes, just saying.
instrument panel, they're
I'm
gorgeous.
talking purely models,
Yeah.
not politics.
Yeah. And it is a tragic situation there for sure.
It's coming along. Look, you've already almost done the whole vehicle in the green. And let's see, I'm looking at my watch here. We've been at it for about, 15 minutes? Now, while you're doing that, we talked about AFV Club having a 35th Stuka Foos. By the way, what does Stuka Foos mean?
Stuka on foot.
Stuka on foot.
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Okay. So AFV Club's got one. You have the Dragon ones. Tamiya
Tamiya
has
does one, yeah.
72nd, you've got the old venerable SE kit from way back when. There's the Revell offering and Italia. I don't know if those are the same molds in 72nd.
They might be, yeah.
They might be. And of course, Vesda does one in 100th scale. Vesda does one in 35th too, I believe. But theirs is retrofitting the Stuka sprockets onto their old 2000.
I think it's their C version.
Their
right?
C version, which I hear has got some accuracy issues.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, apparently the suspension detail is a bit incorrect, and the interior is a bit off. But those are kind of your choices. There's quite a few of these choices in manufacturers with this particular variant.
Yes, there is. Now, I'm not going to worry too much about the inside of the brackets.
Right.
I'm not going to leave those
why,
yellow.
Yeah, because why would they?
Right.
In real life, why would
And obviously, anything that's covered, like you're not going to see anything that's covered up, so you don't worry about that.
they? Right.
Um,
That's looking great.
yeah, we're almost there on the green.
Yeah. So you can see we're doing this pretty quick, right in front of the camera.
Yeah, it
And,
doesn't take much.
And we're not doing recuts. So if you screw up, Dave,
It's live and
live.
it's captured.
Yeah,
It's on
But
the
it's-
internet
it's-
forever.
It's looking great. And then thanks everyone for chiming in and having a look at all of our videos. We usually do them completely for fun.
Yeah.
So
This is definitely not work for us.
and we banter too much. We talk too much.
Talking is good though. Talking is good.
It looks German to me.
Let's do another. Let's just carry. Maybe I'll go back to this one here.
Yeah.
Just kind of carry this.
Are there any surviving Stuka fleets around the world? Do you know?
I don't know. No, I don't think so. There's a lot of 251Ds and
Yes,
Cs.
but not a.
I don't think anybody's
Yeah.
actually gone through the trouble of.
Now I hear that they were not terribly accurate. These weapons,
Okay.
right? They just like boom.
If the alignment on my brackets are in
Oh yeah,
indication.
The wheels are wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, they. My understanding is the crews launched them like they weren't in the vehicles when they launched.
No.
They
They
stepped
would kind of park
outside.
the vehicle. They would
Yeah.
point it in a certain direction,
Yeah.
and then they would disembark, fire it remotely, and then get back in.
and get back in.
And
Right.
that's a great trigger. I just made me think of something. So I haven't put a lot of crew stowage in here, and the reason for that is that I think with the rocket blasts coming off,
Sure.
that stuff would just get
That's true.
totaled.
That's true. Yeah.
So I haven't left like a lot of tarps
Yeah,
or crew
yeah.
stuff. I kind
That's
of
a
kept
good
it
point.
clean.
And pictures probably show that too.
Yeah,
the
at
readers
least,
can
yeah, because
comment.
they weren't.
No. Yeah, they stepped outside, and then they went in packs, right? So the effectiveness is when you had several of these together
Yeah,
firing, rather than we're going to put one out there and start
exactly.
shooting.
You got it.
I believe they had different caliber weapons. The rockets were
Yeah, they had like a
28 centimeter and
uh,
32.
40, I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they had a 42.
Yeah, I think this is the 40 or 42. So I did the larger one. They give you brackets for both and motors for both, so I did the larger one.
Some were incendiary and some were, high
High
explosive.
explosive, yeah.
I don't think there was an allied equivalent of this, was
No.
there? No.
I
don't
No,
think-
maybe the Sherman
Oh, right.
Screaming Minis.
Yes,
Minis?
yes,
Minis,
yeah,
maybe?
the Sherman Screaming Mimi, yeah, which I did as a kid with a monogram kit, yeah.
I had the little Esky one.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Oh. In 70 seconds.
70. Actually, it's good because we're almost out of paint. So
And you managed it with just that.
yeah, I just got maybe just a little thing in here. So you can see I'm just kind of trying to get in behind the bracket. But again,
You're kind of like pretending this is what I do. I pretend that I'm a field crew, right?
Yeah.
Applying it. So you're not going to do under the vehicle. You're not going to do inside the brackets. Why would you?
You got it.
There you go.
So I think we're. I'll just tidy that up a bit here.
And you can still see the modulation through the base color, even with the camo on it. So that's nice.
Yeah. Again, when you spring these like this makes sense to.
Now I like what the color you chose, because I find with scale models, you want that contrast and I like the olive green look of this rather than a very, very dark green.
Yeah, I think scale effect and all that.
Yeah.
So the AK colors are actually quite nice.
Yeah, so I think we've moved in the hobby. You remember the days where everyone was about FS colors, right? I think those days are kind of gone because of weathering.
Oh, what looks good.
What looks good if it's in the range.
I mean, it's got to. I mean, there is a lot to be said for, some level of accuracy.
Yes, of course. Yeah, but not get too caught up.
But not, yeah.
Well, that green is the wrong green that was used in 1944.
Yeah, you'll get that for sure. So I think we'll end it there for today. I think everybody understands.
Yep.
Kind of, I'll just kind of work through the rest of this.
You don't want to hear our banter, anyways. When you're spraying them all.
Yeah. I think
We'll come back to it when it's finished.
Yeah. So we'll do another episode on having it done, and I think the next step will be filters and weathering.
And weathering, yes.
Which is the fun part. Which is absolutely the fun part. Yeah. So thanks again for hanging out with Harvey and I. Don't forget, if anybody has any questions, they can either put them in the comments or they can hit us at garagestudiomodellers@gmail.com. We do monitor. Harvey does a better job of monitoring the emails than I do, but and the comments. But if you need to get a hold of either of us or Robert, feel free to do so. We love to hear from you guys. If you have any questions or you want to see something or have a want a clarification on something we talked about in one of the episodes, we're more than happy to.
And we do read them. We do read them. I read everything. I know, Dave, you're busier than I am, but I read them.
I do try and get through them.
Yes. And we don't always respond, but we read them.
Yes, we do. All right.
All right.
Okay. Until the next time. Take care, everybody.